Dmitry Medvedev once again issued nuclear threats, this time aimed directly at the United States. Within hours, President Donald Trump responded by ordering 2 American nuclear submarines to reposition near Russian waters. More than just a war of words, this marked a rare moment where nuclear deterrence moved from strategy to open confrontation. Dmitry Medvedev, who served as Russia's president from 2008 to 2012, currently holds the position of deputy chair of the Security Council. Once viewed as a moderate, Medvedev has become a prominent figure in Russia's nuclear posturing. Since the start of the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, he has regularly issued provocative statements through social media, often warning of nuclear consequences if Western support for Ukraine continues. This week, Medvedev escalated his rhetoric once again, this time directly criticizing U.S. President Donald Trump. He mocked Trump's recent ceasefire ultimatum to Russia, called it unserious, and reminded Washington of Russia's dead hand system, a Cold War-era mechanism designed for automatic nuclear retaliation in case of a decapitation strike. Hours later, Trump responded publicly. He announced the deployment of 2 U.S. nuclear-powered submarines to appropriate regions near Russia. In his statement, he described Medvedev's words as foolish and inflammatory, and emphasized that the U.S. maintains the most capable nuclear submarines in the world. We are now witnessing the most visible nuclear confrontation between the United States and Russia in over a generation. For decades, nuclear deterrence operated in silence, built on secrecy, ambiguity, and unspoken rules. That structure has just been broken. Trump's decision to publicly confirm the deployment of 2 nuclear-armed submarines is not routine. It marks a shift from silent deterrence to visible escalation. These submarines carry strategic ballistic missiles and are designed to remain undetected. Each of these submarines is a nuclear fortress beneath the waves. Known as Ohio-class submarines, they carry up to 20 Trident II missiles, each capable of reaching targets across the globe. These missiles can be armed with multiple warheads, delivering catastrophic power to several locations simultaneously. One Ohio-class submarine alone can carry more nuclear firepower than all the bombs dropped in World War II combined. Now imagine 2 of them surfacing into political view. Russian state media dismissed the move as political theater, but there has been no military or diplomatic reaction. This silence does not suggest de-escalation. It likely means the Russian leadership is still deciding how to respond. This is all happening in a dangerous context. In early 2023, Russia suspended participation in the New START Treaty, the last remaining nuclear arms control agreement between the 2 powers. That treaty had required both sides to share data on warhead numbers, missile deployments, and conduct regular inspections. Without it, neither side knows exactly what the other is doing. Direct military communication channels have also weakened. During past crises, U.S. and Russian officials used emergency lines to avoid misunderstandings. Today, many of those systems are inactive or politically frozen. That leaves both sides guessing and increases the chance of a miscalculation leading to a real-world escalation. The current crisis did not begin with Medvedev's threats. It is the result of a series of decisions that began months earlier. On July 14th, President Trump issued a 50-day ultimatum to Russia. He demanded a credible proposal for peace in Ukraine and warned that if Moscow failed to act, the U.S. would impose secondary sanctions and tariffs of up to 100% on countries still buying Russian oil, gas, and fuel. The warning targeted nations like China, India, and Brazil, which together buy most of Russia's energy exports. But less than 2 weeks later, everything changed. On July 28th, during a joint press conference in London with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Trump cut the deadline dramatically, from 50 days to just 10 or 12. He told reporters he was tired of waiting and made clear that the new window for a Russian response would close between August 7th and 9. These weren't Trump's first ultimatums. He had previously issued similar warnings in February, March, and May, all without results. Each time, no significant U.S. action followed. That pattern raised doubts among foreign governments about how serious the White House really was. But by early July, signs of a shift had emerged. Trump authorized a new military aid package for Ukraine, indirectly through NATO allies, and publicly condemned Russia's missile strikes on civilian areas. He also began using sharper language against Vladimir Putin, contrasting with the friendly tone of his earlier political campaigns. When Medvedev responded to the shortened deadline with nuclear threats, mocking Trump and warning of possible retaliation, the situation escalated rapidly. Trump's order to deploy 2 U.S. nuclear submarines soon followed, not just as a reaction to Medvedev's rhetoric, but as a message that this time, the deadline had consequences. He is betting that a combination of pressure, speed, and public signaling can force Moscow to act without triggering a wider confrontation. If successful, this could push Russia to rethink its approach in Ukraine, or at least reduce the intensity of its nuclear rhetoric. But like any high-stakes move, the outcome depends on how others respond. If countries like China, India, or Brazil reject the threat of secondary sanctions, the pressure campaign may lose momentum. If Russia sees the U.S. actions as bluff rather than commitment, it could respond with its own escalation, military or rhetorical. And if Trump sets another deadline without following through, the entire strategy could collapse, weakening American influence further. At the same time, if even part of this pressure works, if Russia pauses, if allies align, or if neutral countries reduce energy imports, Trump's gamble may pay off. It could shift the war's direction without a single missile being launched. For now, the world is watching. Trump has made his move. What comes next depends on how the other players react. If you found this analysis useful, leave a like and subscribe for more updates on global tensions and military developments.